Tiny alien girl feared the human would devour her, but things took an unexpected turn. The first time Kellen saw her, she was crouched in the red Martian dust, shivering in a shaft of sunlight like a trapped insect. She was small, barely the size of a human toddler. Skin a pale lavender, hair stringy and silvery blue. Her huge black eyes reflected both fear and something older, something haunted. Kellen had been searching the lower wreckage of the supply pod, looking for salvage. He hadn't expected to find survivors, especially not a child. Certainly not an alien one. She bared her tiny teeth when he stepped closer. "It's okay," Kellen said softly, raising his hands. "I'm not going to hurt you." The girl hissed and drew back farther, clutching a piece of metal like a weapon. Her whole body trembled. She didn't speak his language, but her meaning was clear. Stay away, predator. Kellen knelt down, moving slowly. He pulled a nutrient bar from his pocket, unwrapped it, and set it on the ground between them. Then he backed away. She didn't move, not immediately. But when he turned to leave, she lunged forward and snatched the bar. She tore into it like a starving animal, keeping her eyes locked on the entire time. Over the next few days, Kellen kept returning with food and water. Each time, he kept his distance. And each time, she would inch a little closer. He learned her name, Nia, from a few intelligible words she muttered to herself. Her language was a chirping, melodic thing, incomprehensible to Kellen. But emotion needed no translation. The fear faded first. Then came the curiosity. On the 5th day, Nia approached him of her own will. She reached out and touched his face with trembling fingers, then recoiled, giggling nervously. "You thought I was going to eat you, huh?" he chuckled, unsure she understood. She made a sound, a mimic of a growl, then bit the air in mock menace. He laughed. It wasn't long before she started following him back to his shelter. She was careful at first, always a few paces behind, skittish as a wild animal. But each day she stayed a little longer, ventured a little closer. Kellen gave her a blanket. She sniffed it suspiciously, then wrapped herself up like a cocoon and cooed happily. In return, she brought him things, odd shiny stones, a broken drone's eye, even a beetle carcass she seemed proud of. It became their strange ritual of barter, food for treasures. One night, a dust storm struck suddenly. Kellen was sealing his shelter when he heard a faint knock, rapid and desperate. It was Nia. She stood outside, wide-eyed and terrified, holding her arms out like a child wanting to be lifted. Without thinking, Kellen swept her up and pulled her inside. She curled against him, clutching his jacket. And for the first time, she spoke in broken English. "Safe with you." She told him more in the weeks that followed. Her people had been on a scouting vessel. There had been an explosion. Most were killed. The few survivors were taken by the scavenger clans that roamed the Martian outlands, raiders that sold alien bodies for black market genetics. She escaped. Barely. She was the last. Kellen had lived alone on Mars for nearly 4 years, working odd jobs for planetary contractors, fixing atmospheric regulators, salvaging old wrecks, clearing forgotten tech. He'd stopped expecting company, let alone friendship. But now, with Nia in his life, the silence didn't feel so heavy. She was clever, fierce, and stubborn beyond belief. She learned his language fast, though she still mixed her words with chirps and clicks. She corrected his pronunciation of hers with dramatic flailing arms, then laughed when he got it right. Sometimes at night, she'd sit beside him and trace stars in the red sky, telling stories of constellations he didn't recognize. She missed her people, but she began to smile more. One morning, Kellen woke to find Nia gone. Panic hit fast and hard. He searched the canyon, shouting her name. No reply, just a rising sun and dust. Then he saw the prints, tiny, three-toed tracks heading toward the wreck of the scavenger ship he'd seen weeks earlier. Kellen sprinted. When he reached the site, he heard growling. Two scavengers, humans, rugged and desperate, had cornered her. She climbed atop a metal crate, swinging a pipe like a sword. "She's mine!" one shouted. "Rare genetics will be rich." Kellen didn't hesitate. He tackled the first man, sending them both crashing into the dirt. The second lunged a blade, but Kellen ducked, grabbed a length of pipe, and swung with all his strength. When the dust cleared, the scavengers lay unconscious. Nia dropped her weapon and ran to him, her tiny body crashing into his chest. "Stupid. Dangerous," she scolded in her hybrid tongue, pounding her fist against him through tears. "I thought I lost you," he whispered, holding her tight. She looked up, her black eyes wide and wet. "You came for me." "Always." They repaired an old comms relay weeks later and finally sent a signal off-world. When the response came from a peaceful envoy of her people, Nia grew quiet. "They take me home?" Kellen nodded. "They'll be happy to see you." She tilted her head. "You come too." He hesitated. He had nothing keeping him on Mars, but everything keeping him beside her. "If they'll have me," he said. She reached for his hand, her tiny fingers curling around his callous ones. "You not monster," she said solemnly. "You are my pack.